Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of our series on quality music at The Intelligent Donkey. It's better than being a dumb one. I want to start by first of all thanking everybody who watched part 1. And if you haven't done so already, please go back and do that and watch part 1. But I also especially want to thank everybody who commented on that first video. I appreciate all the comments that were made, and even the bad ones, even the ones that criticized things, but that actually brings me to one of the points I want to make about today's part. I want to continue our discussion on real musical instruments, and in particular, the arguably most important instrument of them all. No, it's not guitars, it's not drums, even though that was the focus of the last video. But I want to talk about the instrument that all of us carry around with us all the time. And whether we're actually good singers or not, good musicians of any kind, other than that, or not, the most important musical instrument of all is the human voice.
Don't wanna be all by myself anymore.
In my life I see where I've been. I said that I'd never fall again. Within myself I was wrong. My searching ain't over. I know that you love a woman.
Four iconic singers. 4 different genres: opera, a pop ballad, a power ballad, and symphonic metal. The iconic voices of Luciano Pavarotti, Celine Dion, Steve Perry, and Floor Jansen. You'll get arguments from pretty much nobody that these are quality, high quality singers. Most of all, no auto-tune.
Auto-tune is not the devil. The devil. The devil.
Of course I know that auto-tune is not the devil. Auto-tune is a tool designed for correcting pitch. When singers get a little bit off, a little flat, maybe a little sharp even, in their pitch, auto-tune is designed to control the pitch that they sing so that it conforms to the key that the piece is written in. The main problem with it is that it violates one of the parts of the definition of what quality music is, and therefore it makes anything that uses auto-tune a little bit lower in quality. So let's look at that definition again. Quality music is real music played by real musicians using real musical instruments. So you tell me, Where is auto-tune a real musical instrument? Well, of course it isn't, and neither is things like a vocoder or other tools that are used to give you effects in your music. But auto-tune is not designed to be for special effects. Yes, it does make some voices sound more robotic. One of the problems with it looking that way is that some people use it all the time. Now, I don't know of any musicians that use a special effect or a modifier on their voices all the time, other than those, unfortunately, who use auto-tune. Take this example of the same voice, one with a special effect applied, and then without a special effect applied. Of course, you heard the effect in the first recording. Both of those songs were sung by Alan Clark of the Hollies. In the first song, he used a reverb effect, an echo, on his voice. In the second song, there was no such effect. The big difference between using an effect like reverb, for example, on a voice is that you can still distinguish the voice. You could still tell that the first song was Alan Clark, just as much as the second song was Alan Clark. Some effects, of course, are deliberately designed to mask one's voice to disguise the voice. For instance, this example. Right there. Yeah. The voice behind the special vocoder in that particular case is the voice of Alan Parsons himself. His real voice never appears in that song. In fact, throughout the catalog of the Alan Parsons Project, you never hear Alan Parsons' voice except as a background vocalist until after the Alan Parsons Project as a band had completely folded. The point here is that special effects are one thing. You can alter the sound of a person's voice, sometimes making it unrecognizable, like in The Raven, or keeping it recognizable, like in Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress. And if you're one of those people, like my daughter Luna Rosa, if you like the sound of auto-tune as a special effect, well, that's one thing. But keep in mind this. Most people are not using it for that purpose because that's not the original purpose of auto-tune. Auto-tune is designed to correct pitch. And the thing of the matter is that in a lot of cases, it's not necessary. It's not needed.
All my friends are toxic, all ambition is so rude and always negative. I need new friends, but it's not that quick and easy. Oh, I'm drowning, let me breathe. I'm better off all by myself, though I'm feeling kinda empty without somebody else. So all my friends are toxic, all ambition is so rude and always negative. I need new friends, but it's not that quick and easy. Oh, I'm drowning, let me breathe. I'm better off all by myself, though I'm feeling kinda empty without somebody else.
So you took the love from my arms into the arms of yours, but I don't need a cure for me. Da, 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 dee, 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 dee. I don't need it. So you took the love from my arms into the arms of yours, but I don't need a cure for me. I don't need it.
You can find many such examples of comparing a singer with and without auto-tune on YouTube. Go ahead and look it up. Auto-tune versus no auto-tune. Universally, what you'll find is that there's nothing wrong with the person's voice without auto-tune. And whether you like the sound of the auto-tune or not, when the auto-tune is applied, the one thing that is not that can't be denied is that the sound of auto-tune takes away things like the overtones and the qualities in the voice. It makes all female voices sound alike. It makes most male voices sound like each other. It takes away some of the things that make each singer unique, whether you like the sound or not. This brings me to one of the points that was brought up in the comments about my alleged shallow opinion and so forth. What I'm talking about here isn't a matter of my opinion. In fact, it's not a matter of anybody's opinion. My daughter happens to like auto-tune. I don't. And that's irrelevant. Both of us are irrelevant as far as our opinions go. But when auto-tune is applied to a voice, it does take away some of the distinctiveness of the voice. A property of auto-tune, regardless of how it's adjusted, because I know it's adjustable, is that the farther from the intended pitch that a singer actually is with each note, the more robotic it sounds. That's just a simple fact of the way auto-tune works. That's why things like Cher's Believe end up sounding so robotic in places. She's holding the same note while the auto-tune plays, if you will, the other tones of the scale like that, and they get increasingly robotic as it gets further and further away from the sung tone. It's not a matter of it being pleasant or unpleasant. It's just that it alters it to the point where it's no longer a real musical instrument. The voice is not what's being heard anymore. Used as a special effect sparingly, there's nothing wrong with it. Used throughout an entire song, like you'll hear in the vast majority of pop music today, it's a problem. It's not necessarily that today's singers are necessarily, as a group, that much worse of a singer. In fact, I would venture to say that the vast majority of today's singers sing just fine. So why use it? Why put the auto-tune in there? It doesn't really make it sound better. It does make it sound more accurate. It's more on pitch. But like I said, it takes away the distinction of the voice. Consider this example.
But I can't help falling in love with you.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars, and let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the world seems to shine like you've had too much wine, that's amore.
In those three examples from the past, could you tell which ones were singing on key and which ones were not? I gave you three examples. You tell me. Pause the video if you have to, or go back and listen to them again. Was Elvis singing on key? How about Frank Sinatra? Or Dean Martin? None of them were. All of them were off key to some degree. All of them, by today's standards, would have been lousy singers. And yet all three of them achieved great success in their day. I guarantee you, too, if their voices would have been run through an auto-tune, they would have sounded awful. Because, like I said, the farther from the intended pitch that any given note in what they're singing is, the more robotic it's going to sound. And whether you like that or not, that's not a real musical instrument anymore. I'm not going to be one of those who complains about auto-tune without giving you some kind of solution, because there is one. I don't really think that the current crop of singers is that bad. I don't think the current crop of singers needs auto-tune, at least not for the most part. Yeah, there's a few duds in there. There's a few that really can't sing, and there's quite frankly some rappers who, well, their voices just aren't that good. But that's not the point, because we're talking about my opinion again. An objective look at auto-tune as not being a real musical instrument gives us the answer to the problem. Stop using it. I'm normally not one to shy away from any new technology. My main career is in IT. I work with computers all the time. I think new technology is great. But when it takes away from that definition, real music, played by real musicians on real musical instruments, then you've got a problem. Now, if the current crop of singers really was that bad, overall, then we'd have a bigger problem on our hands. But it's a fixable one, because all you gotta do is get people trained to be better singers, or at least as good as singers to make up for the occasional wrong note like they did before auto-tune came along. You're not going to find me playing very much modern pop music in my playlist. I just don't like it as much. But again, that's irrelevant. What is relevant is that we do have some singers, at least, that do stay away from auto-tune. They either use it minimally or they don't use it at all. And that's a good thing.
I found a love for me. Well, darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Well, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me.
Now, you're not likely to find Ed Sheeran in my playlist, but I give him props, big time props, because, as it is said, he doesn't use auto-tune. He doesn't use it in the recording studio. He doesn't use it in his live shows. His voice is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There are some people who think his music is cheesy or corny or whatever. That's not the point either. He doesn't use auto-tune, and that automatically raises the quality of his music. And that's what this series is about. And there's more to it than that. A lot more. A lot more to quality music than just avoiding some of these things like auto-tune or drum machines or what have you. We all know what real musical instruments are, so use them, including your own voice. In future installments of the Quality Music series, we'll talk about some other factors though. Remember, the definition is in 3 parts. Real music played by real musicians using real musical instruments. And so far with 2 episodes, we've only really dove deep into real musical instruments. There's plenty more where that came from when it comes to what real musicians are, and what, for that matter, real music is. We're going to talk about some other factors and phenomena that have led to the gradual decline in quality of today's popular music. Why you get people like Rick Beato and Adam Reeder telling us loudly, in fact, that today's pop music sucks. Well, whatever terminology you use, whatever your opinion is about it, the fact is we can measure and see the decline in today's popular music, but it's fixable. It's fixable if you get back to the basics. Get back to that definition and its corollaries about what is real quality music. Always remember that definition and its corollaries. Besides being real music played by real musicians using real musical instruments, always remember that quality music has some combination of melody, rhythm, and harmony, or chord structure, if you will. Quality music does not age. Doesn't mean we don't recognize a piece as being old. We just recognize that it's timeless in some way. Quality music can survive different arrangements, different instruments, different vocalists. Quality music can be performed in front of a live audience. And quality music is genre independent. I'm not against pop music. There's a ton of pop music, not rock, not metal, even though those are my preferred genres, in my music collection. But most of that pop music is older pop music. There too. It's not just because I'm 65 years old. I like older stuff, yeah. Most people do. But that's not the issue. The older music is of higher quality, universally, across the board. Even the stuff that is of lower quality, the newer stuff just is lower in quality. There is a way, though, to fight back against those problems. We can return to quality music. It can be done. And in the coming videos, I'll show you more about what I have in mind for how it can be done. If you like this recording, if you like this video, smash that like button and click the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Share this video with your friends on social media and put in your comments just like you did on the previous video. By the way, I can also accept email comments. My email address is in the description. And I got several of them this past time. Normally I don't get very many by email, but this time I did, and that's fine. Send them on in. I can take those comments whatever way you want to give them to me. Don't be a donkey of limited intelligence. Instead, be an intelligent donkey, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.